Welcome to the Budget Mom YouTube channel. I'm Kamiko Love from thebudgetmom.com and I'm back today with another real life budget. And this one I've enjoyed doing because it has to do with one of our community members named Diane, and she's a single mom, but she lives in a really expensive area, Queens, New York. And she is currently a database administrator at an IT department for a local school. And Diane's situation is unique in the fact that even though she lives in this really high cost of living area, Queens, New York, she's a single mom. When I did my red light, green light test on her information, so my red light, green light test is when I take your income and subtract your expenses, are you in the positive? Are you in the negative? Do I have the green light to move forward with figuring out and putting your information in the budget by paycheck method? Or do I have a red light to stop and figure out, okay, we're in the negative. Is it a spending issue or is it possibly an income issue? So we got the green light with Diane. So before I jump into her information, let me tell you the reason why she submitted her information to appear and have me work through her information in a real life budget. She goes, I'd love to be featured in the real life budget series because I have been able to move all of my debt to an interest-free credit card and would love recommendations on how to prioritize savings goals that all sort of overlap and are quite huge. So that's what I'm going to be addressing today with Diane's real information. So first, let's go over Diane's personal story and her why. So like I mentioned, she lives in Queens, New York. Her why is her daughter. I want to provide a stable home and better quality of life without having to accrue additional debt in order to do so. I also want to create a work-life balance that allows me to spend time with her during this formidable time in her life. Now, a little bit about her story. Single mom since her daughter was about 2 weeks old. She works as a financial and database administrator for an IT department at a local college. When I was 22 and she was 2, I found myself having to live on my own with barely any savings and hardly making $30K a year. I applied and used credit cards in order to stay afloat. Now, 10 years later, I came to realize I was in a $40K hole, a terrible credit score, and severely outgrowing our tiny one-bedroom apartment. I want to begin a coding course that upon completing would offer me a larger pool of remote job opportunities and better pay so that I could achieve our goal of a stable home and better quality of life. I've worked to shave down almost 50% of my debt, improve my credit score, and I'm ready to move into the next phase of paying down more debt for good and looking ahead in the future. So she also does freelance work, but that pay is very infrequent as it's only when the company requests it. So she does freelance, it sounds like she does freelance work for the company she works for. She doesn't include it in her budget. I'd love to be featured in your real life budget series because I've been able to move all of my debt to interest-free and would love recommendations on how to prioritize savings goals that sort of overlap and are quite large. Currently, I am paying off one credit card that will be interest-free until December 2023. She also has her student loans, but she's not paying those on due to the pause until June, and she's not sure if she should take advantage and pay it off while it's not accruing interest. Although I also did apply for forgiveness for those loans. Okay, so let's jump into the nitty-gritty of her numbers. So this is Diane's income and pay schedule. She's paid semi-monthly on the 15th and last day of the month. Her total monthly income is $4,214, and she gets paid $2,107 each paycheck. Her fixed expenses, so she has rent, which is definitely her largest expense, which is going to happen on the 1st. But then she has Spotify, T-Mobile, Wi-Fi. Like she's mentioned, she's paying on that Chase credit card, which is 0% interest until December of 2023. YouTube TV, Disney Plus, iCloud storage, Google OneDrive, and then her daughter's health insurance, which is a monthly fixed bill that you can see here. It's through the New York State marketplace, which it's cheaper to go this route versus adding her to her insurance. So that's why you're seeing it as a fixed bill here. As far as her rent, she lives in a rented 1-bedroom apartment. It is subsidized housing there. So she does not have to pay for water, heat, or electricity. It's all included in that rent. Now you may be wondering why her Wi-Fi is so low at $20. She applied for the Affordable Connectivity Program for the Wi-Fi, which is through Spectrum, and that's why it's only $20 a month. Now, that's it for her fixed expenses. Let's move on to her variable spending. So these are her variable expenses. And I love these variable expense categories for her. These are very realistic, especially as a single mom to a daughter. So she has groceries, clothes, transportation, eating out, beauty, household fun, and miscellaneous. Now, she did make a little note here that because she lives in Queens, New York, her transportation category mainly includes cab rides since they don't own a car. So I use public transportation as much as possible for $60 a month. Now remember, she does have a goal of buying a car, but we're going to get into her savings goals here in just a second. So let's see. On her debt picture here, you can see she has student loans. Her starting balance on her loans aren't horrible. 0% interest as they are frozen right now. Repayments start in June, $168 a month. Here's that credit card. It's the only credit card she has left. She moved it to a 0% interest credit card until December 2023. That is our number one goal. Why? Because usually on 0% APR transfer credit cards, if you do not pay off the balance that you transferred during the introductory APR, they're going to charge you back interest. So we really want to make sure that we pay this off by December of 2023. Now here's something also. She has therapy and braces on her debt picture, but she doesn't list the debt payments for those on her fixed expenses. Here's why. Her therapy and her braces, those payments come out of her HSA account, health savings account, so she doesn't include them in her fixed expenses, but does include them here on her debt page. These are debts that she owes for therapy and braces, but the debt payments are coming from her HSA. That's one of the things that she had noted here. And let's look over her savings goals. She has a lot of things that she's wanting to accomplish. So let's get down to her sinking funds. She has Christmas, birthday, back to school, planner, vacation, and holidays. Now she already does have some money saved, and we worked out, okay, well, the vacation and the holidays are ongoing. So, which means that it looks like holidays, she just contributes when she has it. The vacation is $200 a month, just ongoing. She saves it, uses it, saves it, uses it. But these other ones, she has goals, like $700 for Christmas, $700 for birthday, $250 for back to school. We worked out how many months she had to save, which gave us a monthly amount she needs to save in order to reach those goal amounts by their due dates. These are her sinking funds. But if we move up here, her bigger goals, coding course, vehicle, home, and a move. Now, one of the main reasons Diane submitted her information for the budget, real life budget, was because she didn't know how to organize and tackle these big goals. Because if you look at the time horizon, they're all 1 to 2 years outside of the home. The home is more of a mid-term goal, 5 years. But look, these are big amounts for short-term goals. Like she has a goal of $20,000 for the coding course, $15,000 for the vehicle. And she's not quite sure of the move, how much that's going to cost. She just knows that they're going to need to get a car around that time as well when they do the move. So I would start researching the cost and looking at where exactly you want to move, and then researching the cost of living around where you choose for location. But those are big amounts. I mean, just for the short-term goals we have right here, that's $35,000. Here's how I ordered it based on the information I was provided. Getting that value in your life for the coding course, getting that done and having that paid for. Number 1. Number 2 is getting the vehicle. Number 3, the move. And number 4, the home. And we're going to talk more about these savings goals later in the video. So let's look at putting this inside of the Budget by Paycheck method. So if we look at January, the first paycheck we have to work with is on the 15th. Now you can see I have these orange ones that I'm saying were paid with last month's pay. We're starting with her first paycheck in January, which is the 15th. Okay, matching the colors to the budget here. Everything that's highlighted in pink on here, so I also wrote down her bills when they are due. We're going to pay everything in pink, which is their fixed expenses right here. Okay, that equals $256. We subtract it from her payday or her paycheck, which is $2,107. We're left with $1,851. This is where I decided we're going to cover her variable expenses the very first paycheck she receives of the month. And that way we don't have to worry about it again. We have the money to do it with this paycheck. Let's take care of the variable expenses fully for the entire month. So groceries, clothes, transportation, eating out, beauty, household fund, miscellaneous equals $755. Guess what? We're still left over with $1,096 to work with. So then I said to myself, okay, well, let's cover these sinking funds, get those amounts taken care of. So Christmas, birthday, back to school, the planner, vacation, holidays equals $249. She's left with $847. Why am I not putting the rest of the money she has in this paycheck to go towards that credit card if that's our number 1 goal? So she wrote to us about a situation. Here's what she's expecting for her tax refund, and I have some notes here. Her daughter's father has his tax refund garnished for child support, so those are 2 lump sums that she is going to receive anytime between February and April, and are different amounts each time. She said the low ball that she estimates to get for taxes is $4,000 and $2,000 to $3,000 for the child support. So here's what I recommend. Between the taxes that she gets and the child support, she could pay off this Chase credit card whenever she receives that money between February and April. We can wipe this out and no longer have to worry about it. Now, if she has any leftover or extra money at that time after paying off this credit card, we're going to throw it at her savings goal, which is that coding course. We want to get that taken care of. Remember, that's our number 1 savings goal. That's why I'm only putting $50 here towards the Chase, because I want to use the lump sum payment she's getting around tax season and the child support to pay off the Chase. The rest, the big chunk and majority is $797 is going to be going towards that coding course. Now, if we match up the color for the paycheck, if you look at the paycheck she receives the last day of January, we are going to start paying things for February. Now, we have to pay her daughter's health insurance that day for $45. We're also going to pay, with the last paycheck in January, we're going to cover our rent and any bills up until we get our paycheck again. Equals $1,512. Well, we took care of our variable expenses with that first paycheck. We took care of the sinking funds. We put some money towards debt, so now the rest is going towards that coding course. Do you see when you have one goal of importance, your money, you know exactly where you need to throw your money towards that one goal, which is the coding course, $595. Now, if we look at her paycheck for February, we could literally just redo the January 5th, because what we did for January 15th paycheck is going to be exactly what we do for February 15th. Exactly. Now, granted, keep in mind that some of these numbers might be tweaked based on what's happening in her life. She might have a dinner out with friends planned. She might have a birthday party for her daughter that she needs to put here in her variable spending. But for the most part, the foundation of her budget, the bills, the variable expenses, and her savings goals and debt goals are here. So that is what Diane's information looks like using the Budget by Paycheck method. Okay, so that was Diane's real life budget, and there was a lot of information. Diane did wonderful with providing a lot of information for backstory, so I had back information on how to organize this and really figure out. Let's go back though to what her original question is and why she submitted information for a real life budget. She said, I've been able to move all my debt to that interest-free card and would love recommendations on how to prioritize my savings goals that sort of overlap and are quite large. So here's the thing. When you are working on many savings goals, and usually that's life, most of the time we are forced to work on more than one financial goal at a time, even though the common advice is to focus and work on only one goal at a time so you can make quicker progress. But in all reality, most of the time in real life, we are kind of forced into these situations where we have to work on multiple things at the same time. One of the things that I noticed was, especially looking at her savings goals, so she has her short-term kind of sinking funds established. You know, she has her Christmas, the birthdays, the back to school, vacation, holidays, that type of thing. But she has 4 really large goals. The coding course that she wants to take, buying a vehicle, buying a home, and then moving. And when I looked at all of those are not things that we have to work on all at once. In this case, I want to work on one at a time, get rid of one, and then focus on another, right? We're going to try to knock these out as fast as we can. I'm going to say that coding course has the potential to add real value to her life. Value as far as job opportunity, value as the possible increase in income that she can get. She already has $10,000 saved, so that's my number 1 goal. Getting that coding course paid for. Next is to get that vehicle in her life. Number 3, focusing on that move. Remember, she has a goal to move to a lower cost of living area or state. And then number 4, that big purchase, $30,000 goal amount of a home. So her question was, how do I prioritize my goals when all of them overlap? They're all short-term goals, all want to be reached between 1 and 2 years outside of the home she wants to have in 5 years, which I would consider a medium-term goal. How do you organize this when all of them overlap and are all kind of larger goals? Number 1, you have to ask yourself, can I work out on one at a time? Or do I have to work on a couple of these savings goals at the same time? And if I do, which one am I going to throw the most money at? So we established that. And then as far as the debt, you know, one of the things that Diane wrote to us, and something that I shared in the video going over her information, was that she receives child support and tax refund. And so she's estimating the taxes for the refund to be around $4,000, and then $2,000 to $3,000 for the child support. I want to use that money to get rid of that credit card. I want to wipe it on out with what we're getting from there. Anything extra that she gets, if she has any extra, I want her to put toward that coding course. So that's what I recommend as far as answering her question and why she submitted her information for a real life budget. If you found this helpful, please like it and don't forget to subscribe. Okay. This is still, yep, okay. Testing, it's still going. Good.